7:50 a.m. Somewhere over the Volga River, a Russian MiG-31K pilot banks hard left, trying to shake a swarm of Ukrainian drones. The threat warning system screams continuously in the cockpit. Below him, on the highway, a convoy stretches for 3 miles. 120 Kinzhal hypersonic missiles sit on transport trucks, glowing white-hot on thermal cameras. The pilot doesn't know it yet, but in exactly 15 seconds, those missiles are about to change history. Russia's pride, the weapons Putin calls unstoppable, are about to become the world's most expensive fireworks display. Ukraine has been planning this party for 72 hours. Moscow thought they were being brilliant, moving $1.2 billion worth of weapons deep into their own territory. They believed they were moving them where Ukraine couldn't touch them. They were dead wrong. This ambush didn't begin with explosions. It began with a lie so perfect that Moscow swallowed it whole. January 28th, 3 days earlier, Ukrainian military intelligence deliberately leaked classified documents through compromised channels. They knew the Russian FSB monitored these specific lines. The intel claimed F-16 armed with new ATACMS variants would hit Savvasleka Air Base within 72 hours. Moscow took the bait like a fish hitting a lure, but a single strike wasn't enough. A decisive blow was needed to force Russia to abandon the base. January 29th, 2 a.m., the first test wave arrived. 20 FPV drones, cheap commercial quads modified with explosives, swarmed the runway and fuel depot. Panzer systems engaged immediately, their radars locking targets with mechanical precision. Missiles were launched. The Ukrainian drones seemed like a mere nuisance. The Pansy was proving its worth, like swatting mosquitoes with a very expensive fly swat. The Russians destroyed 90% of the drones, but they had no idea these were just the opening act.
Launch sequence
January
initiated.
30th, 2:15 a.m. The main event arrived, and it came hard. 100 drones materialized on Russian radar screens simultaneously. Bayraktar TB2S led the formation, with FPV quads filling the middle and loitering munitions at the rear. It was a coordinated swarm attack that forced every air defense system at Savvasleka to engage at once. The Pansy batteries went into overdrive. Missiles streaked upward in rapid succession. 36 missiles were fired in total. The mathematical problem became obvious within seconds. Too many targets, not enough missiles. Operators switched to 30mm cannons. The Tor M2 joined the fight, its vertical tubes spitting interceptors. The S-400 battery engaged what it thought were Storm Shadow cruise missiles. They were wasting $1 million munitions on cheap decoys. The sky over Savvasleka turned into a wall of light. Explosions everywhere. Tracers crisscrossing. When the smoke cleared, Russia counted the damage. One MiG-31K with a damaged wing. Several Kinzhal storage containers were on fire. Their precious cargo was ruined by heat and shrapnel. Moscow declared a victory. State media ran footage of burning drones. Generals praised their crews. But in the command bunker, the base commander felt only fear. If Ukraine could throw 100 drones in one night, what was stopping them from throwing 1,000 next time? The trap worked. By 4 a.m., orders came down from the Kremlin. Evacuate everything. Move the MiG-31Ks and the intact Kinzhal missiles to the Akhtubinsk test range, 800 miles southeast. Russia thought they were being strategic. In reality, they were doing exactly what Ukraine wanted. 2 days earlier, Ukrainian special operations had sabotaged key rail junctions on the route. The damage was subtle. Warped tracks and compromised switches. When Russian logistics tried to plan a rail evacuation, they found it unavailable. Only one option remained: load $1.2 billion worth of missiles onto trucks and drive. Rubber tires on asphalt. Slow, visible, and vulnerable. This is where Ukrainian intelligence got creative. They tracked the convoy thermally. Kinzhal missiles require precise storage conditions. Temperature fluctuations can ruin their propellant. To maintain climate control, the transport trucks ran auxiliary power units, APUs, continuously. In the middle of the Russian winter, those APUs created thermal signatures as bright as stadium lights. Ukraine could see exactly where the convoy was every hour, every mile. But they didn't strike. Not yet. January 30th, 4:30 a.m. The first small convoy departed as a test. 3 MiG-31Ks flew overhead, 40 Kinzhal
Stretching for
missiles
3
moved on the
miles along
ground
the
with an
frozen
escort.
Volga.
Ukrainian
The
drones
convoy
watched,
presses
but no
eastward,
attack came.
a vital
The
artery
convoy
in the
reached
winter dawn.
Akhtubinsk safely. Russian commanders breathed easier. They believed the route was secure. What they had actually done was teach Ukraine exactly how they would move the main shipment. February 6th, the main convoy departed. 5 MiG-31Ks overhead. On the ground, 120 Kinzhal missiles stretched for 3 miles along the Volga River highway. The total value was $1.2 billion, not counting the aircraft. The escort was massive. 3 Pansy batteries, 1 Tor M2 and 2 Ka-52 helicopters. Russia prepared for everything except what Ukraine actually planned. The Volga route seemed perfect, wide open, with nowhere for an enemy to hide. But that river provided a low-altitude corridor for drones. They could fly so close to the water that ground radar couldn't distinguish them from surface clutter. At 7:20 am, the symphony began. Ukrainian electronic warfare flooded Russian radar frequencies. 15 decoy drones were launched with thermal emitters. To the Russian Su-35s, these looked like low-flying F-16. 4 R-37M missiles were fired from the Su-35 interceptors. Each cost $1 million. They hit nothing. $4 million was spent chasing radar ghosts. Russia's accountants were having a bad day, and it was about to get worse. The Pansy batteries experienced 40 seconds of radar blindness. At 7:35 am, the real swarm arrived. 50 basic FPV drones attacked from multiple directions. These were cheap builds with one purpose: waste the Pansy's ammunition. They had no fancy guidance packages, just cheap frames and small explosives. Their job was to make the Russian systems empty their magazines as fast as possible. The Russian systems reacted exactly as they were trained to. 36 missiles were fired in rapid succession. The sky filled with white smoke and bright flashes. 36 expensive missiles chasing 50 cheap drones. The math was cold. Operators watched their ammo counters drop like stones. 24 missiles were gone in the first 2 waves. The last 12 missiles were launched almost simultaneously. The 30mm autocannons kicked in as backup. But cannons can only engage one target at a time. The drones were still coming. The convoy commander barked into the radio. "Reload! Reload now!" His voice cracked. Reloading a Pansy takes precious minutes. Minutes they didn't have. Then the second wave hit. 50 more FPV drones. These ones were purpose-built with shape-charged warheads designed to punch through armor. They came from 4 different directions, hugging the highway and the frozen river. The 2RM2 battery fired its remaining 8 missiles in desperation. 4 hits, but 46 drones were still inbound. The swarm didn't attack randomly. They adapted, approaching from angles the radar couldn't cover. Some flew so low, they kicked up snow spray from the river. Russia's air escort tried to intervene. One Ka-52 pilot spotted a northern wave and opened fire. His 30mm cannon ripped 3 drones apart, but he was focused forward. He missed a single FPV drone, climbing silently from his 6 o'clock. Its thermal seeker locked on. A direct collision with the tail rotor gearbox caused the metal to screech and tear apart. The Ka-52 lurched into a vortex and was forced to make an emergency landing. The second Ka-52 broke formation to cover his wingman, but the swarm enveloped him like hornets. His threat warners wailed non-stop. He jinked left and right, his ammo counter flashing empty. A cluster of 10 drones acted as a lure, retreating toward the hills. The pilot took the bait, chasing the decoys away from the convoy. Below him, the convoy sat completely exposed. The Russian commander's hands shook. His forces outnumbered the attackers, but the enemy wasn't playing by the rules. The APU generators were still running, broadcasting heat signatures like beacons. There was no time to shut them down. At 7:50 am, the finale began. Thermal-guided strike drones dove from altitude, locking onto the brightest heat sources. The lead drone zeroed in on the first Kinzhal storage unit. Impact. The shape-charged warhead punched through the armored panel like a hot knife through butter. The plasma jet melted through the steel armor in microseconds, hitting the missile's solid rocket propellant. The propellant ignited instantly. The first Kinzhal detonated in a brilliant white flash. The blast wave slammed into adjacent missiles only 16 feet away. Thermal energy peaking at 3000 degrees cooked off their propellant within milliseconds. It was a chain reaction. One missile's explosion triggered the next. The second missile exploded, then the third, then 5 more simultaneously. The energy added exponentially to the growing inferno. It cascaded like dominoes. Across the 3-mile convoy, 120 Kinzhal missiles cooked off within a 1,600-foot radius. The blast was registered by geological stations 124 miles away as a 2.3 magnitude seismic event. A man-made earthquake generated by 120 hypersonic missiles detonating together. $1.2 billion worth of weapons evaporated in approximately 15 seconds. Russia had just funded the most expensive fireworks show in history. Meanwhile, 124 miles away, a MiG-31K experienced sudden navigation failure. Electronic warfare had corrupted its guidance system. The pilot fought the controls as his display scrambled. He was forced to make a rough emergency landing at a backup field. The aircraft skidded 1,300 feet and stopped hard against a snowbank. Its electronics were fried. The remaining 4 MiG-31Ks continued their journey, but their formation was disrupted. Ukrainian reconnaissance drones watched it all in high definition. The highway looked like an alien landscape, with craters and twisted metal glowing red-hot. The fires would take 3 full days to extinguish. The bill for this display is a massive headache for Moscow. 120 Kinzhal missiles destroyed, representing nearly 2 full years of production capacity. 1 MiG-31K heavily damaged, 3 Pantsir systems depleted and scarred. 1 Ka-52 attack helicopter written off as a total loss. Total equipment value $1.5 billion. Ukraine has successfully reduced the pressure from Kinzhal strikes for months. Russia is now forced to disperse its remaining assets, stretching its defenses impossibly thin. Most importantly, Russia now has to defend everything, everywhere, simultaneously. That is mathematically impossible and strategically catastrophic. You don't need massive firepower to defeat billion-dollar weapon systems. You need patience, solid intelligence, and the willingness to let the enemy believe they are safe. Right up until the exact moment they are absolutely not. If you were in Putin's shoes, staring at the satellite photos of that burned scar, how would you protect what's left? Drop your strategy in the comments below. The best tactical answer will be pinned. And if you think Ukraine has even more tricks up its sleeve, comment yes right now. Underestimating innovation is the fastest way to watch a weapons program turn into smoking scrap metal. Hit the like button and subscribe, because this war is rewriting the military playbook every single day.